What is happening, everybody? I'm Sebastian Rusk, and this is the Social Media Suck Show. I'm your host, as always. Hey, welcome to the show. Got my trusty co-host and guest with me. Maybe he's over there. Mr. Robert C. Stern, welcome to the show, sir.
I thank you for having me, Sebastian.
Yeah, Nene. Do they Nene up there in New Jersey?
Of course.
We got some. Yeah, there he goes. All right. We got to fade the music out. We fade the intro music out here. So we do this each and every week at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I have Ghost. Well, there's Ghost in here. You just haven't seen him yet. I have guests like Mr. Robert C. Stern, other individuals that I've met specifically on this live streaming platform, specifically here. Robert and I didn't know each other before this live streaming platform arrived like 3 days ago. Okay, maybe it was 6 months ago. But my goodness, it's moving fast. Now, welcome to the show, Robert.
Hi, thank you very much for having me. I'm loving it.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
Sporting
yes,
for you. I'm telling you, I'm sporting for you.
It's got the bow tie action on here. Absolutely. So, live streaming's been here for 6 months. Social media's really only been here for 10 years. I mean, when we're talking about something brand new here to everyone, naturally, when it's new, there's a learning curve. Naturally, when it's new, there is an ability or a desire to want to adapt. I think we've really worked through a majority of that. I think brands that have their heads screwed on correct know they at least need social media. But how do you think it is for a brand in 2015 to be
stopped
social?
on me for a second, so try it again.
We frozen?
It slowed down. I didn't hear the whole question.
We were frozen? Well, sometimes technology fails us. So I said in 2015, how important is it for a brand to have a social media strategy? I mean, some people just still think that they don't need. So I don't talk to those people because I'm not a convincer. I'm not here to convince you one way or another. If you don't get it, that's your problem. But why in your opinion, why do you think it's relevant?
I don't believe there's an industry out there that should not be on some form of social media or not. Whether it's, the ultimate goal everybody always looks at is, what are they going to get out of it? Are they going to get sales? It's not always about the sales. It's about getting the brand recognition, getting your messages out, creating relationships, depending if it's product or service or anything else. So social media has actually made life easier financially because of the expense of, we're talking about radio and print and TV and the traditional values that have always been so expensive, which means if you were a small business, you couldn't do those type of things and you couldn't compete with the big boys. Well, social media has made life easy for them. I mean, social media is free. Now, learning how to use it might be a situation that you might want to spend a little money and invest in yourself and understand how to market yourself. But at the same time, you can now compete with a large corporation that's got $1 million to spend on all this stuff, and you can compete, and actually sometimes you can even do better. Right.
But I think that no one has any patience.
Yes, and that's technology's fault. That's not even social media. That's technology. I mean, 10 years ago, we had mobile phones. Okay, and what we do on them? Wow, we actually called people on them. Now you can text. You can use the WhatsApp app and text. You can social media. You can use Facebook Messenger. You can Instagram. You can now message people through. They want instant gratification. So, I mean, I know people that they text me, and if I don't answer their text right away, then they send a message to me through Facebook. Then they send me a message on phone. Then they call me, and they're like, you didn't answer my question yet. I'm like, I'm in a meeting. I do have to work. I can't just be sitting on and talking to everybody all day, even though everybody on Blab thinks that's what I do. But at the same point,
it's not.
Tell anybody. I actually tell everybody I'm part of triplets. There's 3 of us, and we take 8-hour shifts. one works, one's on Blab, one's
Blab shifts. Huh?
We just rotate them around. But what happens is that people are expecting that immediate gratification. We're saying is that, You go on social media and you want those likes and those relationships right away, and they're going to buy right away. You know, social media is like a race. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. And believe it or not, it's an endless marathon. You have to continue to grow it, continue to feed to it, continue to do all those things to it. And then you start to see the return on the relationships, which lead to the return on investment. I know, I'm a very big Ted Rubin
That's very
fan.
Ted Rubin of you. Somebody tweet Ted and get him in here. He's sitting on the beach sipping a Bahama Mama down here in South Florida. He's got plenty of time to tune in and join us. At Ted Rubin. Let's get him in here, Uncle Teddy. So you're exactly right, and I couldn't agree with you more. I think our thought process is in the same space. Unfortunately, businesses don't share our same thought process, and that's where the whole patience thing comes into play. I was just at a meeting this morning with a large interior design firm here in Miami, and they said, "Hey, this is great and everything, but at what point in time does this convert to dollars?" And I said, that's a tough thing to gauge. Can it happen? Absolutely. And they said, well, we've been doing a haphazard job at managing our own social media. Yet when we did a job for a celebrity chef and he mentioned us, that converted into business.
Well, that's also part of now with this whole live streaming process for over 6 months. Marketing is changing. It's not just, you have to do the traditional marketing a little bit. You have to, print or whatever else. You have to do social media. It's part of your marketing budget now. It's part of your marketing. And now live streaming comes along, and it's not about necessarily the companies going out and doing their own things. Now it's talking about working with influencers where you get the sponsorships involved. Just like, you go out and you get, a famous tennis player to, or the old Super Bowl commercials. Hey, Eli Manning, you just won the Super Bowl. What are you going to do? I'm going to Disneyland. The guy gets, $100,000, $200,000 to say that sentence. And they're paying him as an influencer to do those things. Well, live streaming is doing the same thing now, but on a smaller scale. And what's great about it is that there are people that are gathering these followings, such as, I can name drop a few, an Adrian Dyer or a Justice Bowens or people that do motivational things, and they're gathering all these people. And now all of a sudden they can gain a sponsor, even a local sponsor, to promote their product.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's another version of a storyteller. Yeah, you got an influencer. Now that brings me to my next question, and that is, what is an influencer? I think somebody posted last week in the social media group here in South Florida. What's the difference between a blogger and an influencer?
A blogger is a type
what do you
of
think?
Influencer. A blogger is written down. It's articles. It's getting it out that way. And then you have the vloggers that do video and blogging. An influencer by itself is somebody that people listen to. And believe it or not, every single person, whether they're in this blab room with us or they're listening to us on a podcast later, every single person is an influencer. Believe it or not. You just need one person, just one, to be listening to you to say, oh, I'm going to go try that product, or, oh, I'm going to try that method or something else. You have then become an influencer. So it all starts with one. Now, granted, other people have 20, 50, 100, thousands. Oprah Winfrey, the biggest influencer in TV history. She says, oh, I like this book. And what happens to that book?
You get a car. You get a car. You get a car.
She says
you get a car.
Ellen DeGeneres, same thing. She comes out with Periscope on her phone. And what happened in the first week? Over 1 million people downloaded it. So, influencer, it's the power of one to start. As a friend of mine, writes down in there, Chef Dennis, it is the power of one. You have to start with one. And you go, let's think back. Sebastian, we're close in age. I'm probably older. But go back to the old commercial. And they told two friends, and so on, and so on, and so on. And then the boxes get bigger and bigger. I think that was a Head and Shoulders commercial or something. And that's what it's about. You tell one or two people, and if they go on and tell, and that's the focus of my whole business, is about engagement and relationship building so that you build that army to get out there and tell everybody.
Yeah. It takes time to become an influencer. You know, it's a 3 to 5 year road. There's a lot of people showing up, and because you're good at, you know, an Instagram and you're good at posting pictures with your girlfriends at the nightclub dancing on the table, doesn't necessarily mean that you are justified to be able to go represent a brand. And the brand has to align with where it's at. I mean, a lot of that product placement stuff is still starting to take flight and take life and just within the past 10 years. If you look at the music industry in specific, I mean, you're talking about, it doesn't matter what genre of music you're talking about. You're talking about an individual that is, they eat, sleep, and breathe music, and then one day to the next, their hard work pays off, and now they're a famous artist with a major record deal, right? They've signed a multi-million-dollar deal. They got $1 million for an advance. They go and buy themselves a hat, a house. They buy themselves a new car, and they pay off some debt, and then they're broke again, right? So that entire process has been broken up because individuals would come in and actually create the new star type of life for the famous influencer. Okay, we're going to pay your bills, we're going to buy you a house, we're going to keep you on a budget, we're going to keep you squared, and we're also going to align you with Sprite, we're also going to align you with Wrangler jeans, we're also going to align you with Budweiser so that you have additional revenue streams, because you're never going to make money off of your album sales, ever. But you will make money off of ticket sales, you will make money on promotions, promotional items, and you will make money based on these sponsorships. And I think that's the first level when I think sponsors, of course, the sports and the Michael Jordans and the Nikes and the Wheaties of the world were all relevant pertaining to sponsorships and things of that nature. But when we talk about influencer, I think an influencer is somebody who can influence a decision because someone in their community or multiple people know, like, and trust.
And that's the beginning of an influencer. You have to learn to get to know them. You have to learn to find out what they're about. And it's not just about the business side. It's you got to know about them personally. And, you know, you were talking about the music industry, and, you know, I have a lot of friends in the entertainment industry. I do some work with some of the entertainment industry. And you know what the number one thing an actor or a musician that goes in for that interview with a manager or any of those type of stuff, what's your following? Can we see your Twitter account? Can we see your Facebook page? I mean, I know young actors, they have to walk in for auditions with all that information ready, and they haven't even auditioned yet. It wasn't even about their talent and their look. It was about what kind of following do you bring to the table? I mean, that's changed the whole entertainment industry, if you think about it.
Absolutely, 100%. I was...
Whoa, we lost Sebastian. Boy, he must have got all heated up on that comment.
Your own show.
You got so passionate about what you wanted to talk about, you fell off.
I did. I got so fired up because the conversation is so relevant. Am I back on here?
Yes, you're back on.
Okay. So I do a lot of castings and all kinds of different stuff. Host, TV, acting, whatever I can do to get one step closer to Hollywood. I don't know how it's all going to come about, but I think it's going to be reverse engineered. I think someone's going to find me online and then ask me to come to Hollywood, and I'll maintain control if all goes well. But until that happens.
Here we are.
I got all kinds of different casting. Exactly. Here we are. I ended up on a show on Nickelodeon last week, which I don't watch Nickelodeon, but when a major network like Viacom calls and your agent has you booked, you go. And I was, they needed a bald guy. They needed a chaperone. And they actually, I have to show the picture just because you probably saw it. They set me up as an alter. I conveniently set myself up as an alter ego just for the simple fact that, I might as well have some fun with it. I'm going to be on set all day anyhow. And they asked for a bald guy, and then they ended up dressing me up like that. So I shot a quick video.
A guy in the 70s. You know what music comes to my mind when I see that? Bomb, chicka, bomb, bomb, chicka, bomb.
Yeah, I could. Well, I didn't have the stash here. But the first thing I thought was, holy cow, Sebastian's alter ego has arrived. So I'm in hair and makeup. They're like, let's go. We need to go. And I'm like, all right, 1 second. I'm there trying to take a selfie. But I shot a video. And if you go to my Instagram account, @SebRusk, that's a shameless plug for my Instagram account because this is my show. And my goal is to get people that are watching the show to follow me because I want to talk to you and I want to learn more about you.
You said a key thing right there. It's not that you want them to follow them. You want to talk to them. And that's the difference that brands are not understanding in this world. And you will go to the social media sucks part. Brands, and I'm talking the big boys, the little guys are starting to understand it. And that's why they're starting to do so well and killing it at social media. It's about the engagement. It's about that reaching out and saying thank you and acknowledging those likes, those comments, those retweets, those shares, and starting conversations with people. If the big boys started doing that also, oh my God, the loyalty of big brands would be so much even higher. But the little brands, the small companies, are taking the time to say, hey, Sebastian, thanks for retweeting that. I'm glad you got the great merit and value out of what I wrote. If there's anything else I can help you with, you write that comment, and it's kind of like sitting back, and it's like, whoa, they acknowledged me. I'm going to write them back. And now you start building the rapport in the relationship.
Sure. And all that's cute and everything, but I just read a statistic yesterday that 83% of messages and mentions go unanswered by brands. 83 freaking
Think about
percent.
That is mind-blowing.
Mind-boggling. And in this case, social media sucks. If we're doing station identification and you're just tuning in here, my name's Sebastian Rusk, and this right here is the Social Media Sucks Show. I am a social media strategist, and I wrote a book called Social Media Sucks If You Don't Know What You're Doing. That's it right there, and it's available wherever books are sold. If you buy one on my website, sebastianrusk.com, it comes signed. Is that a plug? You're goddamn right it is. My show. So we talk about info. Okay, so why I was going with the Nickelodeon thing is that I was talking to my agent, and I said, listen, any additional opportunities that pop up, make sure that you bring up the fact that I have a following. I mean, again, combined network with my brand and everything, probably like 15,000. Nothing to write home about, but it's something that's been organically grown over the past 5.5 years that I've launched the brand. And she said that is so absolutely vital to getting booked. And that's the first thing they ask. What do they look like? Are they a fit for the role we're doing? And what type of following do they have? Specifically for music videos and things of that nature, but really for any type of acting or anything of like, why? Because when the movie studio, the production company, the music company, the record label launches that video or that movie or that show, and they have social media happening internally, it's cheaper. It's not just better. It's cheaper to magnify it externally. Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Right? You've got the star of your show with 1 million followers. They've got to send one post out to let 1 million people know. You got 5 of them. You've got a solid opportunity to be able to get the word out.
Exactly, 100%. Because and it's not necessarily the number of the followers; it's the amount that it influences them. You can go to somebody who's got 100,000 people on their Twitter account, and that's a great number. Don't get me wrong. 100,000 people, I would die for 100,000 people following me on Twitter, but I want those people to, when I post things, respond. I want them to retweet. I want them to do things. The old days of the buying the follower list. I mean, some of these people that have millions and millions of people, how many are they active people that are dealing with them? So it's not.
Well, I think a lot of that's been flushed out. And, the easiest way for all that to be flushed out is, well, number one, after, every social media specialist on the planet's going at, grabbing the knife and chasing after their fellow social media strategists and saying, are their followers really real? Number one. Number two, if you have 100,000 followers and no one is retweeting or sharing your information and there's zero engagement, I mean, it's clear what bullshit is on the board.
Exactly. Straight to the point.
Yep. So somebody just said, and the seat is open here. I'm going to be, you can jump in, and we're going to be taking some hot seaters here on the Social Media Sucks Show. Yeah, in just a couple of minutes. Shasher's Life. I don't understand these
Shasher's
names.
Life.
Okay, I don't know. Shasher. Oh, I got it. Shasher, but I want to call people by their name. It's 2015.
That's Shannon.
I feel like I'm in an AOL chat room. Shannon. All right, there we go. All right. Well, you got the roll call over there. So Shannon had mentioned that some large brands are concerned what their attorneys will say about it. And social media, unfortunately, I believe falls in the category of, beg for forgiveness later and avoid asking for permission, just because every attorney, again, they're loosening up because there are rules and regulations put into it. But she said that she's worked with brands who have to get every tweet pre-approved by legal first. I would absolutely punch a baby and then myself in the face if I had to deal with a client like that. 3 days later, the "It's a Beautiful Day for a Ride" gets approved, and now it's raining. That's the time that you walk in there and you just throw down the bats and you go, listen to me. Here's what's going down. Okay. I understand that it's uncomfortable for you to take yourself outside of your comfort zone because you feel that there may be some legal ramifications towards that. But there is a new sheriff in town. He's got a bow tie on, and I promise and can assure you I at least understand what I'm talking about, and I know it. Why? Because I'm not going to put your brand or reputation in jeopardy whatsoever. So before we even execute this, before we even walk the plank and take the risk, I'm going to run everything by my legal team first and make sure we can, in fact, get away with it. Why? Because my legal team gets it. Not every legal team does. But being able to get in there and set some clear expectations, listen, help me help you. Help me do my job to the best of my ability. But when we constantly have to go through approval process and jump through hoops and go through all this, and I know where you're at from a social media specialist standpoint, I get it. The value of, wait a second, I've got a base of clients that are paying me to make sure they have a social media strategy, but you need to make sure who's in that pool, right? Because not everybody in that pool belongs in the pool. And there's a lot of, it sounds like the client you've worked with in the past having to get things pre-approved. Those are the ones that are pooping in the pool. So you got to watch out for those because those aren't always the ones that you want in there.
You know what the most amazing thing I've learned over doing business now 5 years on my own? It's okay to say no to a client.
And it's also okay to fire them.
I mean, find out the procedures, find out the situation when you sit down with a larger brand that has a legal department, a marketing department, things like that. What is your process to get things approved to get done? I mean, I remember walking into one and they said, well, we got to do a storyboard and set everything up. And then we got to get it approved by the CMO. Then we got to send it to legal, make sure they're okay with wording. Then we get back and we start to set it up again. And then when we get the final thing, we got to go through the same motions again. And I looked at him and I said, and 6 months later, the whole social media space has changed. And the thing you wanted to get out is, so in other words, we have to start 6 to 9 months ahead of Christmas to get the Christmas social media accepted.
Right. Exactly. And again, and Shannon also said they also think social media is a trend. That's cool too. You can think whatever you'd like to, but social media is overthrowing governments in the Middle East. Do you really have the audacity to think it's not affecting your business? And ask anybody that question, and no one can argue that. I don't care what kind of skeptic they are. Again, I don't have conversations with skeptics. That stopped in 2003. That stopped here. I'll tell you exactly when that stopped. That stopped when this book came out in 2003. And I sat down with my friend Gary Vaynerchuk and I said, Gary, it's the last question I'm going to ask you, but what advice do you give people that are skeptical about all this, that think it's a trend, that think it's this? And he looked at me in typical Gary Vee fashion and he said, Sebastian, I don't give a shit about those people. You know why? Because the longer we have this all to ourselves, the better. Mm-hmm. He said he was at Web 2.0 in 2008. People were like, Gary, how do we get people to get on Twitter? He's like, we don't. Like, the longer we can capitalize on building our tribe and our community and focusing on brands and people that get it, the better off we are. And from that point forward, I refuse. People convince me this is it.
I don't have to convince
you. It's not my job. It's not.
Either you're going to accept what I say or you're not. And that's okay.
Right. Sure. Skeptics, welcome. All right, this seat's opened up here. Let's see. We got a bunch of people in the room here. Thanks so much for joining in. If you guys are telling a little bird, I see all kinds of little birds flying around here. Tweet, 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 tweet. Bird, bird, bird. If you're just joining us here, my name is Sebastian Rusk. I am a social media strategist. I own an agency here in Miami called SocialBuzzTV. We help brands create buzz through content. I wear bow ties. I talk about products, brands, etc. And we do the show once a week, 1 p.m. Eastern time on Tuesdays, chatting with smart individuals like Robert C. Stern here. Next week on the show, I got the very entertaining and extremely beautiful Sonny DiLorenzo on the show. I'm really excited about that. And we've had some really exciting past guests. We've been rocking and rolling. We had Mark K on last week. That was the MC for the Periscope Summit. And we also had Mark Shaw on, Brains Behind Tags Tribes, the week before that. So the show is rocking and rolling. The biggest challenge that I'm running into is that there's not enough Tuesdays in the rest of the year for the guests here. So we could be adding a second day. I'm thinking Thursdays, same time slot. So it'll be Tuesdays and Thursdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We got some great guests lined up on the docket here. I talked to my friend Mike Stelzner, trying to get him to put his social media examiner pencil down for a second and get on the show.
Great guy, Mike.
Jeffrey
Great guy.
Hazlitt. He totally is. Everybody that's within this social media space here. So my friends that I've been able to lock arms with over the past 5.5 years and build true relationships with, the people that wrote on the back of my book for testimonials were people that I have strong relationships with, that I've met before, that I've introduced on stage, that I've shared the stage before, that I've met him in the green room. Jay Bear is the smartest guy that I know. I asked him whether or not I should take a book deal 3 years ago when we were in Philadelphia over an ice cold beer. And he said, Sebastian, why not? It's a book and you know the social game, so you can help them out. I said, great. Will you write the forward? And he said, sure, give me 2 weeks. And I thought, 2 weeks? I thought he was going to say 2 months. And
meanwhile, you didn't even write the book yet. He's got the forward done and ready.
You got the forward's done. I'm like, it's a wrap. Jay Bear wrote the forward. But again, I'm extremely humbled that I have strong relationships like this in place because of the fact that I know that I've done something along the line to be able to, and that's really what social is all about. It's not about what we can get from it. It's kind of like a networking. I'm very much involved with BNI, Business Networking International, and their whole motto is givers gain. You show up at these networking meetings once a week to be able to give, not to take. If you show up with givers gain, realizing I'm just here to help and give, by default, you're always going to walk away with exactly what you want. And I'm living proof of that. Not only am I active offline networking, but as well as online. And again, your network is your net worth.
100%. And I've said it 100 times on blabs and periscopes, on Facebook articles, anything else. I will just give and give and give. And then when I get tired, I get up and I give a little more. Because you know something? That's what it's all about. If you keep giving the information out, you know the best analogy, and I'm trying to remember who said it. I think it was Mark Shaw on one of his periscopes, because I call him a good friend of mine. A chef comes on the Today Show and he's going to show a meal. Is he going to show his best meal or is he going to show a crap meal? Of course he's going to show his best meal. And everybody says, why do you give out your best information? I said, because you need to show what you know. Is he going to go on? Is the chef going to go on and show how to make scrambled eggs?
Well, maybe.
Or is he going to show that cordon bleu with the special stuffing or this gourmet breakfast or something else? And they're going to show those things. And, it's unbelievable that people want to hold back information because they're like, well, I got to hold something back because that's how I make money. I want them to hire me. I go, trust me, give out every piece of information you know, and they're still going to hire you.
Right. 100%. Again, they utilize you as a resource, and then they eventually do business with you, or they know someone who wants to do business with you. I didn't write a book to sell copies. We've sold like 1,000 copies since last March. Big deal. Nothing to write home about, but I didn't write the book to sell copies or make money on book sales. The book makes me money, but not on the actual book sales. It makes money because when I walk into a meeting and I shake someone's hand and we sit down and I say, I brought you a copy of my books for you. I'll be sure to sign it before we leave. They love it, even if they don't like books. Even if they don't like books or don't read. You know why? Adam Whitty, who's the CEO of my publishing company, Advantage Media, says, Sebastian, no one ever throws a book away. That is your new business card. Your book will remain.
Who brings a book to every time he goes to a meeting, and you know how everybody they take the bowls and drop your business card in. He drops his book in. Because what happens when I do the same thing too, but I give it away. I give it as a raffle prize. What happens when the bowl gets to the front and he looks at the bowl and he goes, "Who gave this book out?" Right away he just got mentioned.
Sure,
Tim Gillette, where are you?
Right. Exactly. And again, that is very strategic. Now, there's a downside to that too, because everybody's got a book these days. Everyone's writing a book. Buy my book. Come to my event. Buy my book. Look at this. Check my bow tie. There's a lot of noise through that. But when you're doing it, we're talking hand-to-hand combat here. When you're going into a meeting and you're meeting people for credibility purposes, there's not a better gesture on the planet than to say, I brought you a copy of my book, because no one ever throws books away. Like Adam said, no one ever throws books away. And if and when they're ready to do business with you and they look over and your book is on their bookshelf or their coffee table or their desk or whatever the case may be, it's there. People don't throw them away. They give them away. They may just stay and collect dust on a bookshelf. But I don't know how the heck we started talking about books. But
Samantha just brought something up that I really, really enjoy, that it's, they need to know that you know stuff. And once you show them that, you can personalize the experience. And that's a key word. personalize the experience. That's what social media is now about. It's about the journey, the stories, the experiences that people are understanding with you. And that's where the crossover now has come. Before it was, hey, I'll plaster all my stuff out on social media. And we went with that for a few years, and everybody did those things, the realtors, everything else. And guess what? Now they want to experience something with you as an influencer, as a person that they trust who knows this stuff. So now you give your own stories of how it worked, whether it's with a client or whether it's your own personal situation or whether it's a family situation. Because now what you're drawing these people into your field, your visions of how things are. And the relationship that you just built because of that is timeless.
100%. People buy from you.
Correct.
From you. Okay. My good friend and mentor, Bruce Turkel, says, your brand is not about you. Your brand is how it makes other people feel.
I'll give you one better. Brian Fanzo. I love the quote. He said it one time on his podcast. I made a quick little graphic and sent it to him on Twitter. Brands are not what they say it is. It's what your customers, clients, and people tell others it is.
100%.
It's not 100%. What we think anymore. I can come on and say, hey, I'm a social media strategist. I work here and I can do this and I can do that. And then somebody down there saying, he's a piece of crap. He doesn't know what he's talking about. It doesn't matter what I say. It matters what people that are doing business with me or want to do business with me, or if they can't right now even do business for whatever reason, and they come onto my shows and they come onto all my stuff, and then they take that information. I was on one this morning. I did a blab myself. I was doing one live streaming. You're going to laugh. It was a Rubinism. It was the ROR of live streaming and how to measure it. And that was my blab I did this morning. And I had a guy jump on. His name's Morgan Ingram. And he's been watching a lot of my blabs and scopes and everything. And he's taking my information and he's putting it to work, because that's also part of it. It's not just listening and hearing the information. It's executing and putting it into action. You know, how many times, Sebastian, you talk on stage. I've talked on stage. Brian talks on stage. Kim Garst talks on stage. We all talk. And people get all excited when they go to these seminars and Social Boom and Periscope Summit and the blab thing that'll probably show up within 6 months. And everybody listens to all these amazing stuff. And then they get home and life happens. And then they go, oh, I'll get to it another time. Oh, I'll get to it another time. And then they don't do it. They were so excited about it, they don't do it. They don't take the action.
Yeah, there's no execution at all.
Exactly.
One of my favorite quotes ever, Martin Luther, how soon not now becomes never. Mm-hmm. And Nike, yesterday you said tomorrow. And that's exactly it. The amount of people that will go and spend thousands of dollars to travel to an event, to be in an event, to attend an event, and not even take notes. Let's just say they do take notes. The amount of people that get home and review those notes are smaller than the people that actually review those notes and actually get down and do something with them.
And then they got the ones that review, and then the ones that review, there's a percentage that actually attempt to do it, and then there's a percentage of those that actually do it.
Sure.
So if there's a room of 100
Jack
people,
says what gets measured gets done.
If there's a room of 100 people, only 5 are the ones that are actually going to do it.
Sure. And that's enough. Those numbers work. Hey, guys, if you're just tuning in here, this is the Social Media Sucks Show. I'm your host, Sebastian Rusk. I'm a social media strategist, and I wrote a book called Social Media Sucks If You Don't Know What You're Doing. This is my guest today, Mr. Robert C. Stern's in the house. We are chatting about all things social media in 2015. What's an influencer? What's this live streaming all about? What do brands really need to know? It's time to hear from our audience a little bit. That hot seat is open. We've got about another 23 minutes left on the show. We'd love to interact with you. I see a lot of conversation and chatter happening here in the comment section. Go ahead and click join for the hot seat. I think I saw Dean of Success has a lot to say in the comment section. Looks like a real fired up individual. I'll show you how to sell books, specific, measurable, desired outcomes. Yeah, baby, let's go. I was going to say, Dean, if you don't grab a seat right now, you're missing out, buddy. He's a magician. You better do some magic.
There he comes.
Yeah, baby. Uh-oh. What did I do? Did I do something wrong?
Hey! You got any magic tricks for us?
Do I got... Oh, man. You would have to ask. Sure, I got a magic trick for you. What the heck?
All right,
Years of celibacy and self-denial right here for your entertainment pleasure, ladies and gentlemen.
Whoa!
Don't try that. All right. Here's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to look away because I can see the camera. You know how to say stop?
Only if I'm all right.
Regular deck of cards here. At no time do my fingers leave my hands. Here's what I'd like you to do for me. Say stop anytime, and I will. Say stop.
Stop anytime, and I will. Oh,
Good. Got it? Look at it. Memorize it.
Got it.
Okay. It's important you remember that card, because if you forget the card, the end of the trick is real stupid. Okay, forget that part. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take some of the cards. I'm going to turn this way. Some of the cards I'm going to turn this way, face to face, back to back, until all the cards are completely and totally rearranged. Now, we have a technical name for that in the magic business. Do you know what we call that? We call that messing up a deck of cards. Years of celibacy and self-denial for your entertainment pleasure. I like to think all those years of prison, not a complete waste of time. Now, you can pretty much see cards are facing pretty much every direction, face to face, back to back, till all the cards completely. Now, here's what I'm going to do. Just like that. Watch. All the cards are now face down except for one card. One card only. What was the card you selected only a second ago?
Jack of Diamonds.
Wrong. Take off all your clothes. Just kidding. Jack of Diamonds.
Look at
this. Yeah, baby. Years of
say some social media magic, baby.
That's right. Blabra-cadabra.
Yes, sir. Hey, Dean, what do you do?
I am a business consultant and coach. Better yet, a business therapist, right? Because if part of your life sucks, so does your business, right?
That's right.
So, I leverage the inside secrets of 40 years of the entertainment industry, showing people how to use the inside secrets of show business to grow business for rock star results and sold out success.
Oh, you
give us three. Give us three show business tips that you normally talk about.
Absolutely. First of all, people, B2B, we've been lied to. B2B, B2C, C2B, all that crap. It's a myth. It's a lie. It's all P2P. It's people to people, because we all dress, sleep, eat, drink, have the same triumphs, have the same challenges. So if you're not serving people on a people level, you're really missing the opportunity. So one simple strategy is to leverage the relational nature of technology, which is video. So I do more Vmail than email. So in that, if you're going to get a connection from me, you'll probably get a short, simple, personalized video directly to you. Not one that you have to download. By the way, you can go to youtube.com. Probably never heard of that place. But and /upload, hit that little button that says record, and it will record a customized video without you having to do anything technological. So it's super simple, really easy to do. The other is, because I spent 25 years coaching performers how to put more business into their show, and now I show entrepreneurs, business owners, corporations how to put show into their business. Because if we want to rise above the crowd, if we want to, eliminate the noise and the clutter, we have to do something interesting, effective, and really ostensibly outrageous. So, for instance, let's say you have a retail business. People come into your business, whatever it happens to be. What's your favorite kind of business?
Social media.
Don't say porn shop.
Golf.
Golf. Okay, so you come into the golf onto the golf thing, and the people there, they say they look at you and go, oh, I know you. You're. Can I get your autograph? And they literally treat you like a paparazzi would treat a celebrity. Now, out of all the golf places in town, which place are you going to go to where you get recognized and rewarded and acknowledged, or to the place that says, "Yeah, can I help you? Would you like fries with that?"
Right. They sell fries at the golf shop?
Yeah, they do. Absolutely. And you can hit the potato. It's
roasted round potato.
Instead of spank whitey, you get to spank the spud. Can I say that?
Wow. Hashtag spank the spud.
Spank the spud.
Was that all three? Was that three tips?
I don't know.
That sounds like
magician, not a mathematician. Sorry.
You need to be. You got to count those cards, don't you?
Oh, books. Sell books. You want to sell books?
There we go. How do you sell books?
So a couple of ways. One, of course, is you leverage it as part of your fee process. So in other words, hey, you book us for this so much, we'll throw in 100 books, 500 books. And here's the king strategy of all. You want to sell books to a group or organization. Say they buy 500, 1,000, however many books from you in advance. Here's the magic. Because of the nature of print on demand, you can go to that CEO or that high-level executive or whoever's hiring you or whoever wants the most accolades and affirmation and reprint, say, hey, listen, if you buy 1,000 books, I'll waive the $2,500 setup fee, and I will put you can write the forward for the book. And, of course, you write it for them, give them the insights. They can just approve it so they don't have to do anything. Give them the forward. And then on the cover, it says Microsoft licensing and Dean Hankey proudly presents, creating success for life, whatever your book is, right? And with forward by Joe Schmo from CEOs of Microsoft licensing or whatever company. Do you think they're going to buy 1,000 books? Dang straight dog, they're going to buy books all day long. As a result,
I think my publisher would hate me if I said, "Hey, got a new client. We need to change the book again."
Well, but that's the nature of publishing. If you're working with a publisher, you may not have the same kind of leverageable freedom to do kinds of things like that. But for all of us who are self-published, you can go to instantpublisher.com, 48-hour books, so create space, on and on and on, and you can create, one to. There is a buying minimum at Create Space. You have to buy at least one.
It's interesting.
Right.
I'm working on a book.
About rewriting my book. I mean, I could. It's painful to know I even got through the first version of it.
Right. Yeah. And the cool thing is you can create content all day long. Every one of these, we get out of these blabs, right? We get an audio and a video. So now we've got audio that we can turn and leverage onto thumb drives as a free downloadable asset, as a resource in a CD along by our book and get a free audio, blah, blah, blah. You can interview.
You just said CD.
What's a CD?
Right? What's a CD? It's the thing that came after cassette tapes.
I'm still working.
Whatever those are.
I'm still working on 8 tracks.
Right? Amen, brother.
Yeah.
There's more than 8 tracks on an 8 track. Did you know that?
Yeah.
You can put 14 tracks on an 8 track.
I didn't even know that. You see, you learn something new every day.
My phone is almost as big as an 8 track used to be.
Right? Yeah.
Wasn't there a guy that tried to took his phone back because it didn't play inside the cassette? He's like, it's too small of a spot for my iPhone holder. Right. Like, wow, right? Stupid should hurt. Stupid should be painful, brutally painful.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for those tips. That's great. It's great to connect with you, Dean. Thanks for hopping in the hot seat and come back soon, will you?
Have a great day. I mean, I'm not telling you what to do, just to.
Don't tell me what to do, buddy. Hey, great tips. That's the first time we've done magic on the show. There's always something here. Cue the brands in the house. Hey, girl. Hey. Let's see here. Who else wants to hop in the hot seat? Come on now. We got about 14 minutes. What's up? We got about 14 minutes left here for questions, thoughts, ideas, concerns about social media. Maybe you don't like my bow tie. Maybe you're just joining us and wondering who the heck I am. Robert's got a bow tie on too. He looks more like a Playboy bunny, but
it's my night job. No.
Robert, take that tie off.
Speaking of Playboy, no more nudie pics.
I know. I'm very upset.
I can finally order a subscription for my pastor.
I guess I'm going to be on Blab more. I won't have time to read.
You can read anyway. You all know it.
Somebody said you need to button up your bow tie.
No, it's the shirt, guys. It's the shirt.
Oh, it's
you need to button up your shirt. We don't want to see that chest anymore.
Yeah, she said bow chicka wow wow. No, that was Mr. Montgomery. He's going to join us. Yeah, Mr. Montgomery will be making an appearance on the show sporadically. My alter ego that I was on a Nickelodeon show last week. They put a bunch of toupees on me and hair, and I had to shave all my facial hair. It's growing back. It's going to be a couple more months, and I'll have a beard. But yeah, he took over, and I think he was a hit. He's actually more of a hit than my normal content is, so I need to bring him back. What, Tim Gillette, what's happening, brother?
Well, you had Robert on here. You're talking social media. I don't know anything about this social media. How do I make this work?
What do you do with yourself?
I run a blog and a brand, and I'm in Dallas, Texas. Work with coaches and speakers, build a blog, personal brand.
Awesome. How long have you been doing that?
Since about 2010. Yeah, 11.
Do you know Craig Duswalt?
Craig Duswalt, one of my closest friends. He wrote the foreword to my book.
Yeah, man. Craig, rock star marketing. He was one of the first. He was one of the first professional speakers that I saw ever, even before. This is like 2009, I think.
This is his kid's book.
Yep, that's right. He has kids writing, and he was the one to say it's so simple to write a book. The book needs to be 93 pages, not 100. He had awesome tech. I mean, but from like the full blown, like, I mean, if you get a chance to go to one of Duswalt's boot camps, go. That guy gets it done. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Sorry, that comment is amazing. There we go.
It's gonna haunt me forever.
I now can get that. Hold on, let me save that.
It's a GIF. You can all click it and save it for yourself in your files.
Oh, that was amazing. Oh, there's
a long story behind that, Sebastian.
Well, that might be enough for another show. Yeah. So, Tim, based on have you been in here since the beginning of the show? No,
I just got off of. I was helping Coach Tony with her show and a gratitude coach, and I just came over from there. So,
all right, cool. So we just been chatting about.
Tim also didn't mention he's also a radio host. He has a radio show.
Yeah, and I just got off my radio show an hour or 40 minutes ago.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. So we've been talking about social media in 2015, why brands need to adapt to it. What's this thing all about? Is it a fad? Is it not a fad? What is your overall thought process on social media as a whole in 2015 when someone sits down and says, hey, Tim, what is all this stuff and how does it apply to my brand?
When it comes to social media, it's a place you need to be out building relationships. All right. If you're not out building relationships somewhere in the world, it's the online version of the old-fashioned networking. And so many people are forgetting that. They think they're coming here to sell. I'm not coming to your show to sell today, ladies and gentlemen. I'm come here to meet Sebastian, to talk with Robert, to build relationships. And if you think this thing is going away, it ain't going away. All right. And if you think you're going to change it, all right, with doing old-fashioned sales pitches, it ain't going to work either. It's a relationship tool that is here that's going to better the global economy. All right. It's time to get on board with it and use it the way it's intended to be. And I know you have Robert on here, and I'm not going to sit here and tout him. He's great at it. He teaches you how to build relationships in it. He teaches you how to build a plan and make it work for your business.
I'll send you every your checks in the mail.
Oh, okay.
I thought maybe this little setup here. And that's all. That's all. I couldn't agree with you more on all that. What's been the number one thing that's happened to you because of social media that has impacted your brand for the better?
The guy you talked about, Craig Duswalt. I found Craig Duswalt online in 2012, and I wrote an email to him and said, "Hey, I'm going to write a blog about you. What should I write?" And he sent me an email back, says, "Call me this afternoon." I was on the phone with him an hour later, and a week later, I was at his boot camp. I'm in his mastermind now. And we changed my whole brand around because of him. I went to his boot camp, met 400 and some people for the first time, changed how my networking skills work and relationships I have around the world now. I've people I'm starting to do business with in Australia now because of it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, great, man. Hey, it's great to connect with you. Thanks for jumping in the hot seat and saying what's happening. Look forward to connecting in the future, Tim.
Yep. Good.
Tell Craig I said what's up.
I will, man.
Thanks, man. So I just love the diversity of brands and things that are happening and people that are doing. We're just all doing different stuff. It appears that we're doing the same thing, but everyone's doing something different and unique. You have to do something unique. That's why I put on a bow tie one day, and I've never taken it off since.
I might not take this off.
You shouldn't. No. I can't believe you're sitting there in a polo shirt, a bow tie, and boxer shorts.
Shh! Nobody knew about the boxer shorts. Now this girl's got gumption.
The gratitude code. Grateful Tony. What's up, Grateful Tony? How you doing?
How are you?
I am tap dancing on top of the world. Thanks for asking.
Awesome. Hi, Robert.
Hey,
Sebastian,
Tony.
I don't think I've met you before. It's nice to meet you.
It's great to meet you as well. Welcome to the show.
I'm in Starbucks, so I apologize if there's too much noise. Just tell me, and I'll jump off.
Oh, you're like a blab gangster. She's like, I'm gonna huddle up in this corner over here. We're getting in this conversation. I was gonna do the same thing too because I was at a networking luncheon. I'm like, let me just go find Wi-Fi somewhere. But I'm like, let's not gamble.
I'm addicted. Yeah, and
where are you located?
In Philadelphia, outside of Philadelphia.
I freaking love that city. I
do
really
too.
do.
City of brotherly love.
It is totally a city of brotherly love. It's so clean. It's so like a mini Manhattan almost, but the history of everything and the whole. I was a little disappointed that Rocky wasn't at the top of the steps. At the bottom, and he's like a really big Rocky,
Did you do it? Did you climb the steps? Did you run the steps?
Oh, climb them. I ran them, and
nice.
I paid somebody $5 to sing dun to the dun to the dun to the dun, you know?
And then he was in the hospital the next day.
Was. We're going streaking.
Robert's right around the corner from me.
Not far. I'm in Jersey.
Yeah.
Hey, winter's on its way, kids. You got to get down to Miami.
Yes, that's where you are.
There.
Yes, I am so it's the closest place to the United States you can get down here. A little country called Miami. What do you do there in Philadelphia?
So I am a gratitude coach and social media consultant. And as Robert said, I talk a lot about gumption. I believe the most successful people in the world are not the most brilliant or the most talented, but they have gumption. They reach for what they want and they find the resources they need to make it happen. So I just help people with like communication, not only in their business to generate leads, but in their life. I believe that there's so much miscommunication. And when people know how to communicate effectively, doors open. So I just help people to get clear on their goals and to grow their business and find the gumption to step out of their comfort zone. A lot of times, even stepping onto something like Blab takes a lot of work for somebody who doesn't want to do live streaming. That scares the hell out of people. But it can open so many doors and connections because I'm convinced that live streaming, I can follow people that I actually like now. Twitter, I followed people on Twitter, but I didn't know if I liked them. Now I can, really create my tribe of people. So networking and lead generation is just phenomenal.
That is the quote of the day. I can actually follow people I like on Blab. Imagine that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It is so true because we unfortunately that filter is not there. Like, we like to judge them based on their profile picture, the stuff that they're talking about, and their bio. I mean, that's really all that we have to go on, right?
Exactly.
And then when we're in person, we're like, okay, security, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's humanized Twitter. I think live streaming has humanized Twitter a lot.
I think it saved Twitter.
For me, it has. I know it has for me.
I've been on Twitter for a long time now. I don't remember when, but it's been a good 5 years. No, 6 years maybe 7. I think 7. They send you your anniversary anyway. It's irrelevant. But I love getting news from. I met somebody the other day, and she said, "I only use Twitter to get my news." So I don't really follow anybody. I can follow you right now if you'd like me to, like that whole deal. And it's true. It's great for news. It's great for conversations. It's great for trending things, live events, things that take place. But it's incredible for platforms like this because I'll spend the next hour after the show going and personally thanking every person that tweeted and told the bird and shared and went there.
All about the gratitude.
It is all about the gratitude. And listen, if you are not, and take that to note, if this is the only lesson that you get from, we got about 30 people in the room. We've had about 116 come through in the past hour here. If you take one thing away from this show today, one thing, usually I like you to take away 3, but one is good. The number one thing is, if you are not talking back to people that are tuning in, that are sharing your content, that are commenting, engaging, talking, supporting your story, telling your story, you are being grossly negligent to your community. I feel the need to break it down a little bit more layman's terms on here. You are an asshole if you don't respond back to people that are talking to you and helping you build your brand. It's just point blank. It's there. If you're a brand, if you're part of that 83% that's not talking back to people, again, I try to keep it PG here because my kid watches my show, but I say I love Jesus, but I cuss a lot. Is that all right? But
no problem.
that is the reality of what's taking place. And the one thing I want you to take away from this is that, you know what? I do need to start talking to people that are in my community a little bit more. How do you get your video to go viral? You get a tribe and an army behind you that loves your videos, right? How do I get people to like, comment, and like my page and follow me? You talk to them. They talk back to you.
It's just like in life, Sebastian. It's if you want people to, I tell my kids, if you want people to be nice to you, be nice to them. If you want people to share with you, share with them. If you want people to respect you, you have to respect them. It's the same thing in business as it is in life, right? It
really is. But we forget these simple principles yes, I was in West Palm Beach last month at the PRSA. Look at that. I got people that were at one of my talks in West Palm Beach, which is about an hour and a half from here, for PRSA, the Public Relations Society of America. Their chapter had me come talk, and somebody that was in that audience is in this room right now.
There we go.
Nice.
Look at that. I love that. I ran into somebody, you know her, what's her name? That's not her screen name's different. Rachel. She's down in South Florida, here in South Florida too.
Rachel Resnick?
No, maybe. What's her Twitter handle's different?
Oh,
I'm drawing a blank right now. Forgive me, Rachel. If you're
wait, Bell Strategies.
There we go. Bell Strategies walks
Rachel
up to me and like, Sebastian, what's up? It's Rachel from Periscope. I'm like, Rachel from Periscope. I mean, I've had a lot of introductions before, but this stuff like just showed up yesterday. So I was like, whoa. But we are connected. The world is tiny. Christian Slater has nothing on all of us. Okay. 6 Degrees of Separation, movie from the 80s. I just dated myself.
Wasn't it Kevin Bacon?
Oh, yeah. Did I say Christian Slater? Well, you just dated yourself, Robert. Hey, we like to, what's it called? We like to keep it, we like to mix it up here. We like to give some inaccurate information. Hopefully it comes from me, the host on here, so I can get tweeted later on. Yeah. Robert Stern he's rocking the bow tie and the accurate actor names for the ones that we may miss here. So, I'll ask you the same question I asked, forgot his name. Dude was on here before. ADD. Look, squirrel.
Tim.
What's the biggest thing that social media has done to impact your brand for the better?
Besides following me, Tony.
Yeah, of course, Robert. I love you.
That is that question's for you, Tony.
Okay. So, what's the biggest thing that it's done for me?
Yeah, what like you say, you know what? The one main thing I can remember of when I really knew that I had not really turned the corner, but like this has been the most impactful thing that's happened to make me a lifelong believer on this stuff is here to stay and it's not going anywhere.
Okay, well, the answer I'm going to give to that, I could give a few answers, I'm sure, but it was 2009 and I decided I was lucky enough to become a stay-at-home mom. So all of a sudden I had this newborn and I was like disconnected from the world. So I decided to start a parenting blog. And that was like a lifeline for me because all of a sudden I could contribute and add value to other moms. And it was so lonely and isolating being a stay-at-home mom. And sure, you'd go on like a play date, which was like, 1 hour a day. And then the other 23 hours you're here with this baby that's crying and you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, the nerve of that little thing, huh? More mommy juice, please. Let's go. Get over here with that dirty diaper of yours.
Shut up, kid.
I commend you. Yeah, I couldn't do. I actually have. I'm a single dad, but she's 14 now. No more diapers. That'd be weird.
Yeah.
Diaper will be your own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So starting the blog gave you a lifeline. It gave you some community.
Right. Yeah. And then, I mean, it's just done a million things for me since then, helped me build, and I'm a single mom as well. So I was in social work and childcare before becoming a single mom. And I realized that, that going back to that was not going to pay the bills for childcare, because being in social work doesn't pay the bills. So I embraced social media because I loved it so much. And some of my friends approached me saying, how do I build a community on Facebook? What should I use? What's search engine optimization? How do I use LinkedIn? All those questions. So from there, I love social media and I love helping people to create their dream, you know?
To tell the story. It makes it so easy. Hey, I'm a single dad there, single mom. You like bow ties?
I do.
That's actually my niche market, single mothers. Yeah, they're right.
Yeah.
They made me their niche market. So, well, that's great. And again, there's a ton of things that we can continue to say. I mean, there's always one thing that stands out. Yours was the line of communication to the outside world when there's an infant being raised, right? That blog did that. There's always one thing that I think the most pivotal one for me was I got cast for a reality show. Blab is a new dating service. And when Match and when eHarmony and whatever the other dating sites get onto this live streaming thing, guys are going to save hundreds of dollars on a monthly basis. Because we're just like, listen, I liked your profile picture, liked your profile, cute kid, like that. Oh, you like parks? Me too. Excellent. Let's hop in and get to the nitty real quick and find out what's really going on.
Let's have a blab and let everybody decide in the chat how it goes.
Absolutely. What do you think of us? Yeah, exactly. I think the most pivotal point for me was that it was probably, I think, 2012, 2013. I got a phone call from a friend that was doing a casting here for Fox, and they said, hey, the casting director's looking for a guy with a bow tie. I'm like, good one, right? Great way to get me to the casting. So I ended up going, and I'm like, so what's this all about? And like, the reality television, number one, is not reality, number one. I think we all know that. But the world of suspense that they leave you in, you're like, hello, people, I'm trying to like manage a life here. They don't tell you anything. So you get there to like, listen, it's going to be a dating show. I'm like, all right, cool. Dating show works. I can do that. Single guy. And it's going to be you and 30 girls. And I was like, all right, I'm going to need to call my agent if that's the case here. So anyway, I'm not thinking anything of it. So I go and do this whole like, just like screen test, and like they like this little apartment on Miami Beach. I'm like, what kind of show are we filming here? So anyway, I fill out a stack of paperwork. I hand it in that Friday, and they call me back the next day. They're like, hey, you're not cast for the show, but the executive producers for Fox want to meet you. Can you fly to Manhattan for the day on Sunday? Well, of course you can. So I flew to Manhattan for the day, and I told the story at the PRSA talk, so if I'm repeating myself here, of course I'm not. This is the first time we've talked, right? I flew into the city that morning, got there at 10 o'clock. My meeting was at 10:15. I was done by 10:30. So naturally, like any other tourist would do, I moseyed on over to Times Square. And as I'm standing in the advertising mecca of the world where brands spend billions of dollars to be able to be exposed, everyone's looking down at their phone. And I thought, wait a second. Now, if I don't end up getting a show, because I'm going to be on this reality show that's kind of slim to none, I am in the right space with this whole social media thing, because we are living in one of the most exciting times that we've ever had to be alive, ever. Things have never moved as fast. We've never been as connected. We can rent a house, drive a car, get picked up, get dropped off, get with a smartphone app. And I thought, wait a second. We are living in the midst of an incredible shift in the way that we communicate. It's just absolutely mind-boggling. And I think our mind gets blown. That's incredible. That meme is incredible right there. Well, how do you make pictures? That's another blab. But that was the real shift for me when I thought I'm in Times Square and everyone's going like this.
Robert, you look so bored.
No, I'm just enjoying this.
Look at the picture on the side. Look at your
that
face.
Is incredible. How do you save? Can you save those?
It's a GIF. You can make a GIF from something. It's a screenshot, but a GIF.
Yeah, tweet.
I'm sorry.
All right, we are. No, you're totally fine. You are totally fine. I'm grateful that you hopped on the show here.
I'm grateful too.
Attitude. All right, we are way out of time here, but sometimes that's the beauty of live streaming. That
you're freezing a little bit.
A lot of it.
Uh-oh. Somebody grab that picture. That's a new profile picture for Sebastian.
Dan. All right, are we back? What happened?
Voice a little bit. The video's a little slowed down. There you go.
Are we back?
Yeah.
Just go. Just go with it.
There we go. Okay, cool. Excellent. All right, so we are out of time here, but I'm extremely grateful for Robert, you carving out some time to hang out with myself and my bow tie today. You obviously know some cool people because you packed the house today, and I see lots of huge fan of Robert. So I like to align myself with cool people. Tony, thanks so much for jumping in the hot seat and giving us your tidbits on how socials work for you and exactly what you do. I look forward to connecting with you. I make it to Philly a few times a year in the summer.
Awesome.
And I got a Phillies hat. I'm a huge Phillies fan. Thanks so much. Let's connect. I'll send you a tweet. We'll definitely
great.
Keep in
Me
touch.
too. Thank you so much for having me, Robert. It was great seeing you.
We'll talk soon, Tony.
My pleasure. Come back soon. So that's what it's all about, meeting new people and connecting with new people. And Robert, do you have time? We got one more caller. Do you have time? Just kidding. Where were you at? We were gonna stop the show. We're gonna take one more on there. It's all good. The best part about social media. Hey, you may be listening to my podcast next week. You may be tuning into YouTube, and you may have seen it on the SocialBuzzTV channel, which is youtube.com/SocialBuzzTV show. You may be on SebastianRuss.com and read one of my blog posts. Wherever you're seeing this broadcast, a replay a year from now, next week, or you're watching this live, please know that I do appreciate you. Without you guys, these shows don't happen. Well, they do, but I'm only talking to myself. You should see the first blab I ever did. It was myself, and I couldn't even get my mom in there because my mom doesn't even know how to use blab. Robert, thanks a ton, brother. I appreciate you, man. Let's stay in touch
Definitely
and come back
will.
soon.
Thanks
will
for
ya?
having me.
Awesome. Thank you, brother. And just like that, the Social Media Sucks show is a wrap. I'm Sebastian Rusk. I'm a social media strategist, and I wrote a book called Social Media Sucks If You Don't Know What You're Doing. I create buzz for brands, but I also host this show once a week to bring cool people like Robert C. Stern in and the gratitude coach in to be able to talk to us about stuff that we don't know. We're going to be adding a second day here very soon. It's probably going to be Thursday, so stay tuned. Make sure I'll type a link here right now. My website is sebastianrusk.com. You can join my mailing list and be aware of everything that I'm up to. Follow me on Twitter as well, too. You probably know how to do that. Just simply click on my profile picture, follow me, and let's stay in touch. Maybe you have some show ideas, thoughts, ideas. Maybe you want to be a guest on the show. Pitch me, bro. Hashtag pitch. I always say, don't pitch me, bro. Please do that. I love ideas for that. Now, the show's getting really awkward because I'm the only one left in the room, but I just want to say, speaking of gratitude, I am grateful for each and every single one of you. Feel free to tell a bird if you're watching this elsewhere on my podcast. Please share that link as well. Thanks so much for being here. We'll see you next week. Hey, I'm Sebastian Rusk, and this has been the